everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my October reading wrap up. October was such an amazing reading month for me. I read so many books, so many pages, and honestly that's because of Dewey's 24-hour readathon that just happened. I read so many pages during those 24 hours and I'm really excited to talk about all of the books that I read. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk about unfortunately was a bit of a disappointment to me, and I did mention this when I filmed my September wrap up and my October TBR, and that is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. I ended up giving this like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It just didn't have that spark that I love so much from Carry On, and the plot fell a little flat for me. I still loved the characters very much. I loved the relationship between Baz and Penny. I just loved how much their relationship grew, and their friendship and their dynamic together was amazing. I also loved the action scenes and the shenanigans that these characters got into, but this book is a little bit darker, a little moodier than Carry On. These characters are going through a pretty tough time, especially the main character Simon. He is struggling with depression and he's having a really hard time with how things ended in Carry On, which is why this book is a little moodier and not as uplifting and sassy and fun as Carry On, and she did that on purpose. There is an amazing quote in this book, and I've mentioned this before, that basically says that even though there is a happy ending, life still goes on and shit can happen after the happy ending. And I love that quote, and it just shows that this book kind of is that. So I didn't have any issues with the writing style, or the pacing, or the characters. It was more of just the plot. It wasn't really what I wanted. Like I said, it just didn't have that spark that I loved so much from Carry On, so I was a little disappointed with that, but I do highly recommend reading it because there is going to be another book in the series. She definitely left it to where there will be another book, so that is exciting. The next book I read was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was our Muggle Studies book club pick for October. I loved this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to the audiobook of it and it was phenomenal, narrated by a whole cast of characters, which just added so much to the book. I loved all of the narrators. I loved their voices, and it was really good. I haven't read a book quite like this before. I loved the heist and just the plot, the pacing, the writing style, night and day to Shadow and Bone trilogy. Oh my goodness. Like, if you didn't like the Shadow and Bone trilogy and you're hesitant to pick up Six of Crows, don't. Read this. It is completely different. The characters are amazing. I had a lot of troubles with the characters in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I felt like I just couldn't connect to them. They were so freaking annoying. These characters, not like that. They're amazing. All 6 of them are uniquely created, and they have such a mysterious background to them that we're getting little bits and pieces of all of it, and it's so good. Highly recommend it. So many action scenes and thrill. It's just so much more sophisticated of a book. It was really good. The next book I read was Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. I requested it off of NetGalley and was able to get an e-arc of it, and it was really good. It's cute adult romance, and it is kind of a hate to love relationship, which you know I am trash for. So basically in this premise we follow 2 main characters. They meet when they are young adults, 18 and like 21. They meet in London, they kind of fall in love, have a little fling, then something happens, they go their separate ways, and then 14 years later they meet back up again. And it's very, very good. I really enjoyed it. I loved the relationship between Tate and Sam, although I did wish that there was a little bit more sass and banter and feistiness between their relationship, like a little bit more hate to the love part when they reunited 14 years later, but it was still enjoyable. I read really, really quickly. The beginning of the book, I just flew through, like when they're starting their relationship. It's so sweet and just so damn cute, and it was just very enjoyable. The next book I have is a reread, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I just needed a carry-on fix after reading Wayward Son. I love this book so much. Just, it's so good. So I didn't read the entirety of the book. I didn't read all like 550 pages, but I read a good 300 plus pages. I kind of skimmed through the scenes that are a little more boring and really went into my favorite scenes. Basically, book 2 and book 3 and part of book 4 are really like my favorite. Book 2 and 3 are really my favorite parts. So those are the sections that I read straight through, and then part 1 and 4 I kind of just skimmed and reread quickly. Okay, so now we are going to move on into the books that I read during Dewey's 24-hour readathon, and I will leave my vlog down below if you want to go check that out. I go into a lot more detail on my thoughts on all of these books. The first book that I want to discuss is the one that I am most excited about and feel most accomplished with, and that is Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. I started and finished this book during Dewey's 24-hour readathon and then read more. This book is 444 pages. It was amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. This is the 4th and final book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I was gonna say trilogy, it's not a trilogy, series. And it was just such an amazing, amazing finale to one of the best series in my opinion. I really want to go back and reread Stalking Jack the Ripper. It's been a while since I've read it. I want to see if I can pick up on all of the clues that we were given in Stalking Jack the Ripper and see how she was able to weave the story together. Oh, it was so good. She kind of reminded me a little bit of like J.K. Rowling, Sarah J. Maas, the way she just is able to weave the first and the last book together. It's so freaking good. I loved it. The pacing was phenomenal. The writing style is amazing. She just writes such beautiful and powerful words and sentences and dialogue. She talks about really important issues in our society today. Even though this book is set in the 1800s, she brings what is going on today in that time period, which it's very, very well done. And I love how powerful her writing is. Also, she's phenomenal at sass, wit, banter, sarcasm. All of that is so good. Like the relationship between Audrey Rose and Thomas is phenomenal. It is so fantastic. I was laughing so many times while I was reading this book, and Kevin would look over and he'd be like, "What?" And I would like read him the paragraph that I was reading, and he would actually chuckle as well. Just so many great, great moments between them. And I'm really happy that this book series ended on such a strong note because, you know, Escaping from Houdini was not my favorite in the series. I felt like we were lacking so much in the Audrey Rose and Thomas relationship banter, and we definitely got that with Capturing the Devil. The next book I read was The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. This is my favorite childhood book. It is just such a unique and fun twist on the story of the three little pigs. In this story, the wolf is actually not the bad guy, and I think it's fun. I love rooting for the underdog. So of course I would love this one, and my husband actually surprised me with this book. He knew it was my favorite childhood book, and I guess he saw it and he got it for me. I also picked up a graphic novel, and that was Big Mushy Happy Lump by Sarah Anderson. I've read her 2 other Sarah Scribbles collection, and I really enjoy them. I read Adulthood is a Myth, which is my favorite, and I also read Herding Cats, and that one I enjoyed, but not as much as Adulthood is a Myth and Big Mushy Happy Lump. Basically, this is just a collection of cartoons of everyday life as an adult. I was actually laughing out loud while reading these cartoons. So here is one that I really enjoyed that I feel like everyone here can appreciate. It says, how I spend my money. Groceries, you just get the basics. Clothes, you splurge. And then you have the last clip where she is buying books and just spending a whole bunch of money. And the last book I want to discuss doesn't really count because I didn't actually read the entire book, but I skimmed through. I took like a good hour to 2 hours and I skimmed through the entire book, and that was Harry Potter. Dropping things. And that was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the illustrated edition. I just went through and drooled at all the beautiful illustrations. I read about 50 pages in this book, but I really enjoy just taking my time and going through and looking at all of the beautiful pictures and just, like I said, drooling at the gorgeous illustrations. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. So that is it for my October reading wrap up. Let me know some of the books that you read in October, and let me know if you participated in Dewey's. I would love to see your reading vlog if you have one, and I will see you next time in another video. Bye!